Sorry, go. Please, Daphne, introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. My name is Daphne. I'm 27 years old. I live in Amsterdam. I study psychology. I'm married. I've been having studied English for 2 years, but I feel that I need to improve more. Yes, that's it.
Okay, awesome. So I am Lara. I will be the hostess of this meeting today. I am 22. I live in São Paulo. I work with IT, so I am a data engineer and also a Python developer. And here is the place that you are going to practice a lot English, because I always say that TNT for me is kind of a therapy session. I love being here and talking with people. It's not about English anymore, but it's about like talking with people and understanding a lot of topics. So I think that here is the right place for that. How long have you been here practicing on TNT?
I think 1 year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a lot of time.
Yes.
So let's start with the first question. What is vulnerability for you and how do you define it?
I think vulnerability is like acknowledge or like you know who are you, for example, and when you are vulnerable, other people can influence you easily. For example, if the old people said something you to do, you do because you don't know the consequence, or you don't know what happened if you do, and I think it is vulnerable.
Yeah, so you don't think that vulnerability is something that you like is good? Do you think that is something that people can take advantage of you if you are vulnerable?
Yes. The positive side is that you are open to others' opportunity, because you not your narrow mind.
Yeah, good point. I think that there has two sides, but I always think that vulnerability is something that is good. You know, sometimes people will try to take advantage of you, but I think that we need to, with the time, we need to understand which moments we can be vulnerable, and with each person, with each person, we need to be vulnerable. You know, I don't think that we can be vulnerable with everyone because not everyone are prepared to receive that. But there has moments like, for example, with our family and with our friends that we can be vulnerable and accepted by like our vulnerability. And for me, I think that's it. Like when you show your emotions in, I don't know, without sometimes with fear, but you have courage to show your emotions. I think that is vulnerability. That's vulnerability for me.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
So question number 2, do you allow yourself to be vulnerable? For me, I think that is hard to be vulnerable because like the first time, like if something is happening, if I am fighting with someone, I'm discussing with someone, the first thing that I think is that like, okay, I will protect myself and then I will not be vulnerable. But when I think about it, like I try to be vulnerable intentionally, like, okay, I will show my emotions and see how this person will react, because sometimes they are not going to like be mad because of it, you know? So I allow myself, but not any moment, because I think that is something that needs practice to be vulnerable with other persons. What do you think? Do you allow yourself to be vulnerable?
Yes, I think I allow to be vulnerable sometimes. Yeah, but I agree with you, it's hard because we don't like to show that we are insecure or weak. But sometimes I cry. I show what is I feeling. If I am sad, I cry. If I'm angry, I said. I think it's very important to share what you think, or what you are feeling, because if you hold these bad feelings inside, I think you develop the pressure or anxiety. It's not good. So it's positive to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that is important that we feel like comfortable with some people to show our emotions. And something that I always think about, like I talk about is in therapy, we are always afraid of being rejected when showing our emotions because we don't know how the other person are going to react. But I think that if we show our emotions for someone and then the person says, like, I don't like it, I don't like that you did that, already a parameter that we can't be with this person. Like, this person can be our friend, or I don't know, boyfriend or girlfriend or something like this. So I think that also being vulnerable with someone and seeing how this person will react is a good way to see if, like, the kind of relationship that you have with other person, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So question number 3, what feelings are related to vulnerability and how can we overcome and accept we can be vulnerable? What do you think about this question?
I think it's insecurity, anxious, depression sometimes. I think these feelings, but we need to overcome through therapy, for example, or talking with a trusting friend, or talking with your parents or the psychology, and you can overcome this feeling in the body.
Yeah, good. I totally agree with you. I think therapy and talking with friends, with people that we trust, is a way that we can overcome it. With therapy, we can understand why we think that we can be vulnerable. And with a friend, we can understand that we can be vulnerable and like nothing bad will happen if we do this. But I think that there has a lot of feelings related to vulnerability for me, and like good feelings and feelings that are not so good to feel. Like it's good because when I am vulnerable, I feel that I have courage to be vulnerable, like I'm confident to be vulnerable, but I also am always afraid to be vulnerable. You know, it's always something like you are like in two sides of some feeling, you know, sometimes it's good, but also you are afraid of feeling it. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Question number 4. In which situations do you feel most vulnerable?
I think when I'm feel scared, I don't know what's we can happen. When I'm weak, and I don't know what I have. I think in this moment when I don't know the situation, I don't know what's happening in the future, I'm feel vulnerable. And you?
Yeah, good point. For me, the same. Always when I need to like talk about my feelings, I feel most vulnerable. And also like when I need to do some presentation at work, I feel vulnerable because it's a lot of people looking at me and waiting to me to say something, and I am always like, oh my God, I will say something wrong. I don't know. And how do you do like in those situations? For example, in a presentation, if you need to do some presentation for work or college or school, I don't know, something like this, what do you do to, we know that is a vulnerable situation, but what do you do to feel comfortable? Because it's something that you can't like say, I will not do it. You need to do that. So how do you do to overcome this feeling? Like how do you do to be comfortable with your vulnerability, showing people or presenting something for people?
Yeah, it's a hard situation because I'm shy, uh, and many times it's happened with me. And what helped me, it was practicing a lot in my house in front of the mirror, and imagining that everything we will happen well. And I try don't impressure other people. I think I try to think I'm alone in front of other people, and try my best.
Okay, there had some moment that you need to do something like this for other persons that you had like a bad reaction of other persons, like you are afraid, and then you did your presentation, and then like persons reacted like in a bad way. You had some moment that something like this happened with you?
Yes, sometimes other people make one face very bad, but I try don't lose my control because other people's, because
Yeah.
I don't have control about the reaction about others, just in my reaction.
Yeah, good point. And I think for me it happened. I remember that I did a presentations for when I was working in a company that was related with education. And I did a presentation like related to something or something related to technology for a lot of teachers. And I did this in the most complex way possible. Like I could be easier, but I didn't. And I remember that of people like looking and not understanding anything that I said. And I was like, okay, so like I prepared myself a lot for that, and this was happened. So what I did was like trying to be vulnerable with them, like, okay, I will think a better way to do that and try to change things how like while they are happening. But I feel like I was really anxious for this presentation, and even that everything went bad, I feel really like happy because like people didn't judge me. They just like, okay, like I am not understanding, but we can do this way and that way. So I feel happy because people were like received that in a good way, even that they didn't understand a lot of things that I say. So
Yeah.
so question number 5. Do you feel you can be vulnerable in all areas of your life? For example, at work, in your family, among friends, and etc.
Mm, um, yes, I can feel vulnerable with new friends, for example, or stranger people that I'm talking in the first time. In the work too, because sometimes I have the presentation that I need to show my capacity, my acknowledge, and it make me feel anxious. But with my family, no. Just in new with new friends in the work presentation.
Okay. What did you work with? What do you work with?
I said psychology, but I'm working logistic area.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. I feel I can vulnerable in all areas of my life, like my family, among my friends, and at work. I think that is a different kind of vulnerability that is more related with set boundaries with people. So, for example, I think that it's related to asking for help and those things, but also when something like bothers me, I can say that like I didn't like the way that you act or something like this. Like I am being vulnerable because I am showing that I didn't like something, and I am not made of stone, but I am also setting a boundary with people that I also think that is boundaries is related to vulnerability. I don't know, it's really hard to set boundaries with people. So I think that it's related to vulnerability also.
Yeah.
Okay, so question number 6. This is a good one. How do you deal with your own mistakes? And does making mistakes make you feel more vulnerable? So how do you deal when you do a mistake?
Um, I don't do well. Sometimes I am perfection, and I'm guilt myself a lot. Yeah, and sometimes I pressure myself, or I have flashback, and I talk to myself saying, "Why did you do it?" I have regrets, but let it go. You need to accept your mistake and let it go. The life is keep going.
Yeah,
And you?
I totally feel you. I have problems with dealing with my mistakes. And something that I do, like, is trying to control before doing a mistake. So I am always trying to control everything in my life so I can do so I don't do a mistake. And this is something bad also. But
Yeah.
working with IT, I am learning like we do a lot of mistakes working with IT, and this is a way that we know like how we can proceed with something. Sometimes we are just expecting a mistake, an error, to keep going because this error will
Mm.
show us how to keep going. So I am learning a lot with that, and like I try to when I do a mistake, I try to like I don't know the word for this, but like to have compassion with myself, like,
Yeah.
okay, you did that, but the next time you can do different and you can think better about it. Like it's a conversation with myself. But I know that it's really hard. Like we always sometimes like I can see I don't know, I do a mistake and then sometimes I don't say bad things for me, but I do bad things. Like I start to eating bad. Like kind of punishing
Yes.
me. So we do those things, right? We don't say, sometimes we don't say for ourselves, like, you're stupid or something like this. But we do things to make ourselves feel worse. And
Exactly. Especially when you make some mistake that hurt some somebody or yourself. Yeah. For example, I went to chiropractor.
it's my
And
dream.
really that they click the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he hurt me because he makes some movement in my jaw, and since that I've been having pain in my jaw, and I'm guilt myself every day that went to there.
But you can talk with him, like, okay, you like he should do something to not have pain, but he did something and now you have pain. I think that you can talk with him.
Yeah,
It's not your good, like it's not your fault, that this happened. So
yeah,
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 but we do that, right? I do a lot. Like I blame myself for things that are not my fault. Like I always trying to search what is like where did I did a mistake, I am always doing that. But
yeah,
we need
yeah.
to do better with that. Like sometimes people do I don't know the word, if it is guilt, if it's blame, if it's fault. Like I'm trying to think about it, but sometimes things are not our fault. We
Yeah,
need to understand
it's
it.
really hard.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And my sister is that way. Like if just to not bother people, if like she orders something in the restaurant and then something comes like is the wrong plate, she will with that just to not bother like the waiter or something like this. She is this person.
Yeah.
So does making mistakes make you feel more vulnerable? Yeah. And I think that making mistakes a good opportunity to be vulnerable with people, like saying with other people about what you are feeling and like trying to find your community and so your community can embrace you. This is something that I saw in the I don't know if you already watched it, but Brené Brown has a documentary in HBO that she talks about vulnerability, and like it's the best documentary that I saw, and she says a lot about
Mhm.
community and feel that you belong to a place and how it can help you to be more vulnerable.
Mhm.
Really good.
Yes, I think I watched this movie. It's the documentary, sorry. Yeah,
Documentary,
and
yeah. I can do that.
yeah, And the teacher said the mistake is to want to be perfection, because we are imperfection, and our attitudes will be imperfection too. And the wrong is inside our heads, because we're going to make a mistake every day, and make mistake is good because you learn through the mistakes.
Yeah, and something that I realized that is when I start dealing with my mistakes better, I started also dealing with others people's mistakes better too. Like I was always this person that didn't react well when people commit some mistake, because I was thinking like, okay, I try not do everything wrong, and you do like this so easy. Why you are doing this? Like if I am trying so hard not doing a mistake, why you not doing this too? But when I tried to accept that I would do a lot of mistakes, I was like more flexible with people around me about their mistakes too. So I think that we
Yeah,
learn how to deal with other people's mistakes also.
yeah, exactly.
Question number 7. Should we hide our vulnerabilities in any situation? If so, which? And if not, why not? What do you think about this question?
Yeah, I think you shouldn't hide your vulnerability, because we need to be flexible with yourself, and when you show your feelings, other people feel more relaxing too, because you don't be trying to be like idle woman. Yeah, yes, I think is not good to hide your feelings. You need to show who you are.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think that sometimes if we don't see like this is a place that people are being vulnerable, we can try to make the first move. Like try to be vulnerable to see if other persons are going to be vulnerable with you also. But I think that there has moments that is like maybe persons are not going to react well, and you know that, and sometimes like they can use your vulnerabilities against you, like you are showing your emotions and then people can use this against you. Um and I think that these are the situations that you should hide your vulnerabilities. But I don't know. I think that we are always need to try first. Like we don't know if you can be vulnerable in some situation if you are not vulnerable. Like we need to be vulnerable to see if we can keep being vulnerable, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Question number 8, are vulnerabilities and expectations related? If so, how? And if not, why not? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know if vulnerabilities and expectations are related.
Uh, I don't understand very well this question. I will read again.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they are not related, to be honest, because I think that expectations are something different. Like, we expect something. It's something that you created. You expect something. But vulnerabilities is showing your emotions. Like for me, it's totally different things. I don't know for you, but for me, it's totally different thing.
yeah, I think is vulnerable is expected, because you are human, and human have a lot of feelings. Some people um, have more control about emotions. Other people don't have much. It depends of the childhood. What is your parents taught you? Um, yeah, it's involved the personality, and the situation that you went through past.
Yeah, I agree with you. And one question about what you said, how do you think that we can help other person to be vulnerable? Like if you're in a situation that the other person not being vulnerable, what you can do to make this person like be more vulnerable, or I don't know, be more comfortable with the situation? What do you think we can do?
I think they can do therapy, accept um, accept the mistakes, and to learn the life is make mistakes, is make the right.
But
Yeah.
like as a person, like you are you are not you are going to help other person to be vulnerable. Like how can you do that? How can you like prepare the environment, or what can you say and what can you do to help other person be more vulnerable?
Mm, I think I would say that that we are imperfection, um, and he needs to accept the life. The life is not like we want, and um, we are going to make mistakes, and accept the consequences, and try to learn through the mistakes, and keeping our life. Don't to stop your life because you make some mistake. If you feel pain, keeping going our life, even though your pain or your bad feelings, just in keeping going, because today you don't feel good, but tomorrow maybe you feel better. The life is like how say montanha
Roller
russa.
roller coaster, I think that's it. I
roller
don't know. I'm not sure, but I think that is.
roller
Yeah, roller coaster. Let me see. Let me see. Where does it? Roller coaster. Yeah, roller coaster. Yeah.
yeah, the life is roller is colder, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, like, as you said, people had different childhoods, and sometimes when, like, you are going to discuss something, people will react bad because they think that they will have, like, a bad outcome of this conversation because in their childhood and the experience that they lived was that way. So I think that we can show that, like, okay, it's okay. I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want to talk, and it's nothing bad are going to happen. We are just going to talk. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's really hard. We always need to consider like other people's backgrounds, I think,
Yes.
to having conversations. So the question number 5, would we have better relationships if we showed our vulnerabilities to our friends, families, and coworkers? What do you think?
Mm. Yeah, because I think it's better because you show to other people who are you. If you don't like some action, you can talk with them and say that you don't like, and the relationship became more clean, more light, and the other people have to have the opportunity to to know who yourself. Yeah, because you show your feelings, the people, the other person will avoid some situation because you said that you don't like that this attitude, and you can to find the balance in the relationship when you show what you like, what you don't like, How do you reaction in this situation?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that we would have better relationships if we show our vulnerabilities, because if you don't show those things that you say, like what things hurt us and what things we don't like and what things we like, people are just going to act in the way that they feel like comfortable. And like in the best possible like option, they are going to try to translate your emotions, so they are going to
Yeah,
see what you are saying and try to understand it, but even trying to translate, they can translate wrong. So I think vulnerability and communicating, it's important because of this. We can have better relationships if we do that. And for me, for example, I always regret when I am not vulnerable with people. Like if I have the possibility to, but I don't do it, I always regret. But as I said, I think that is something that sometimes we need to do intentionally, because our first move is always to try to protect ourselves, like of not showing our emotions.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, so question number 10. Are you taking any lesson from this talk, and what did you learn from your colleagues?
Um, my lesson from this lesson is accept myself. I need to be more vulnerable. Um, don't uh, don't have shame if you are vulnerable, and show your emotions, and accept your mistake, even though you have pain, the consequences. Um, we are human, and we always make a mistake.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's it. We need to deal better with our mistakes. I think communicating is also something important. Sometimes you don't know how to be vulnerable, but trying to communicate it's important. And I don't know about you, you are here at TNT like it more than 1 year, and I'm going to do 1 year on February. And I think that here on TNT is always a place that I feel that I can be vulnerable. Like when we talk about emotions and those things, I never
Mhm.
like felt judged. Even that I don't know the persons. Like I didn't know you before this talk. We never talk, I think. And I feel comfortable to say things that like was to communicate things. And I think that this is the place that we can do this also. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think we have more time, so I have some questions here related to vulnerability also, like extra questions. Uh, and the first one is, what was the last time you acted irrationally and what happened? You don't need to say what happened, but like what was the first time and uh how do you felt about acting irrationally, you know?
Sorry, there is the delay. I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat?
Yeah, sure. So what was the last time you acted irrationally and how did you feel about acting that way?
Sometimes when I feel jealous with my husband, sometimes I action reactionally, and it's not good because you say what you don't want to say. You hurt other people, and you need to put your head in the right place before you say something that in the bad situation, in the vulnerable situation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I am not like a jealous person, but I think that whenever I need to take an action or say something without think about it, I feel that I am like acting irrationally because I always regret about the things that I said. I don't say like bad things, but I when I think better, I can see that I can understand the situation better also. So when
Mm-hmm.
I do something like I need to have a conversation with someone and have this conversation without thinking. Like 1 day or 2 days before, I always think, okay, I could do different, this time. So I feel
Yeah.
you. I think it's because of this that I think that vulnerability needs to be intentional, because our first reaction will not be like, okay, this is what I feeling and this is what we can do. Like we always are with a lot of feelings, and we say something without think about it.
Yeah, I agree too. I understood.
Yeah. So let me see. Uh, let me see just a minute. Okay, so what's the scariest things you ever done? What is the scariest things you ever done?
Mm. Sorry, say that again.
What's the scariest thing you've ever done? Let me send you in the chat.
Scary. Oh,
Yeah, scariest. Let me send you the question.
scariest. Scary. What is scariest?
Assustador. A coisa mais assustadora, assim.
Scariest. Assustadora. I think it was in this weekend when I took the old car from my father because the car is very very old, very old. Yeah, it's scariest because I was scared to lose the control of the car, but everything was good.
Yeah. This was this weekend. You say that you live in Amsterdam, right? Did you move it recently? You always live there?
Yes, I live in Amsterdam, but now I am in Brazil because I'm doing the job, the treatment job, because the
Oh,
chiropractor. Yeah, because we have the cartilage here, and this cartilage it's out place. It's displaced, and I need to do this treatment here because in Amsterdam the health system is not good.
oh,
Yeah,
oh,
and here the doctors is better than there
yeah.
than in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I got it. And when you went to live in Amsterdam, I think that you need to be like vulnerable in a lot of moments, right? It was a new place with then different people. And how did you feel about that?
Yeah, sure. I'm feel a lot of vulnerable. I'm felt because the language is different, the place, the culture, the foods. It's very scar because you feel weak, you feel displaced, but that took time. You feel better. You you take the acknowledge. You know where the places, where the supermarket. Yeah, you need to learn through the mistakes because
Yeah.
you make a lot of mistakes in the new place.
Yeah, I think that like living a new place, learning a new language, when you need to learn something new, it's always a moment that you're going to feel vulnerable because you don't know everything and like for a place of a new subject, and you need to ask for help and you need to show that you don't know so people can help you. So like for me, for example, when I go to the gym, I hate going to the gym in the beginning because I need to ask for help at any moment, like because I didn't know like the machines, how to use it, and what was each thing. And this was like I was vulnerable at the gym. Like it seems stupid, but I was vulnerable at the gym doing exercises. So I think that we have a lot of these, and sometimes vulnerability is not just about feelings, something that I learned today. Vulnerability is not about feelings, but also like showing ourselves to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I don't know if you want to, do some question or we can wrap up for now.
No, I don't have a question. It was very clean. I like it to talk to you. Yeah, and thank you for your time.
Me either. I will send you the survey on the chat. So it is anonymous, but you are the only one here, so I will know that it's you. So
Mhm.
feel free to do any feedback. If you want to suggest some topic, feel free also. I am always here on Mondays at 8 a.m. So I think that's it.
Okay, sure.
I love talking with you, Daphne. Thank you.
Me too. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Bye bye. Nice day, nice week.